What I'd like to talk a little bit about now is the talking tub in practice. What you can see in the photograph is a group of children who have put out the talk around mat. They've got the talking tub out and they're now going to have a conversation about the things that are in that talking tub. Many people ask me about when the talking tub takes place. For some children, it happens at a set time. They have a scheduled group time in some nurseries. That means it's at 10:30 or it's at 11 o'clock gathering time. For us, although it's going to be around sort of mid-morning usually, we tend to base it on the idea of pacing. So when children need a little bit more focus or a little bit more engagement, then we would tend to get out the talking tub. But it also happens a lot when children will say, "Can we get out the talking tub?" When that happens, it's really a good moment because it means that they're very excited by the contents and the conversation. The talk around mat is laid out by the adults and children together. There's something about that process of ceremony. It's about getting ready. It's about collaborating to get that mat out. It's a large circular mat. It's almost 2 meters across. So it means that we can get those children sitting around the outside of it very quickly. And then the space inside, the black, is intentional because then the objects in the talking tub are going to show up. Especially when you're working in nature-based work, if you put natural objects on a highly patterned carpet, you find that often their detail is lost. There is an adult intentionality in terms of the area that you're working in. The idea that you've got an outside mat, as you can see, this one's been used quite a lot, so it's got a lot of stuff on it. You can find that actually the time that you use the mat and the talking tub, the space that you put it, the things that you put in it, and your role are absolutely about your adult intentionality. So finding things that are of fascination to children is part of the first part of that process. Finding a time when they're not tired, that they're ready to learn. Finding a space that is free of distraction. And then thinking about your own interaction with the talking tub, with the children, is an integral part of your intentionality. Opening up that talking tub can be done by the child or by the adult. And then it's about putting objects in there that you think are going to make them curious. You can see from this very quick photograph here that there are natural objects. There are stones, there's some nests in there. There are some bits of coir, but there are also photographs, and there might also be objects that children have given you to put into that talking tub. These children found it fascinating that there was a cow that was dressed up as Superman. And so for them, there became this massive conversation around that photograph. So you can see now the talking tub has been taken away once that object of fascination has been decided upon. The two wicker rings are in the middle to help children to focus on an object. They also help us to say to children, let's use our eyes and not our hands, especially if some of the objects we're using are very fragile or maybe carry a higher hazard. The heads are all together, and that means that the rule about sitting around the outside of the mat isn't enforced all the time. It's about saying, when we're doing, for example, mind mapping, it's much easier when we're around the outside of the mat. But when you want to have children come in to have a conversation, then you need to allow them to come in. Often they'll lie on their tummies, sometimes they'll kneel, but you want them to have heads together discussing ideas and theories and inquiries that they want to explore. Our job at this point is to be listening to their voices. They make the connections in the objects, both from previous conversations to looking to the adult as the little child is here, saying, do you remember this? Is this where the stone came from? So we want children to be able to talk, to listen, to look, to be able to engage in conversation. So using the talking tub in this way is a very positive thing in terms of general communication language. The adult is there to document, and so writing down children's ideas. We do them on yellow strips of paper if it's a larger line of inquiry, but when it comes down to individual understanding, we might give children black pens and thinking bubble paper in order for them to write down those ideas. Obviously, the whole point is that the young child is encouraged to be a mark maker, to be somebody who records their own thinking. So after you've had those conversations about the objects in the talking tub, it may well lead into mark making. In this, at the corner of this photograph, you can see is the talking and thinking tree. You can see children have chosen a piece of paper, they're writing down their ideas, and then they will hang their idea on the tree. Those ideas that have come from the talking tub may well then be put onto a page with images of them engaging with the talking tub into the main florbook.